Right. So the gradient also, the access would be sufficiently wide and turnaround here for emergency vehicle access as well. Any questions for the group?
Timing.
Well, yeah, right, so I just kind of reiterate. Tender, yeah, August, construction start in August. So take about 2 months probably this year, and the balance of the work will be completed next year.
How long for a total, like it's a 6 months project?
No, it's about 2 months. Yeah, so August, September, maybe into October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then freeing it up, sort of paving and whatnot next year.
Next year,
kind of
right.
concurrent with the park work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the asphalt surface would be occurring next year. I think after Kevin's work is done.
So when's the latest you can actually put asphalt down? What month is it?
Well, it depends on the.
So when normally?
So typically,
Typically.
Sean, so most asphalt plants locally close the first Friday in December. Wear course asphalt, which is the driving surface, there's not so much time of year or temperature requirements. Those get placed earlier, but if you're paving on granulars, you can often go into early December. It's not unheard of to pave past that. So.
On average.
Pardon me?
On average.
On average. Any other questions?
Just a quick one, I'm sort of new in the area, does this emanate from a statement of a requirement of some sort of, I'm sure it does, but
Yeah.
what is the case for action for this,
Sure.
just so we can brag it to the community?
Yeah.
This is good for us,
Yeah.
in what ways?
That's a great question, Louise. So not to kind of punt the ball back, but I might ask Kevin to answer that. So we're kind of the implementers.
Sure, I know.
It's conceived much earlier
Uh-huh.
through some master planning and things of that nature. And the funding is identified and created and passed off to Nathan's group to implement.
And some lobbying, 2 years of lobbying.
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit, Kevin, about maybe some of the background?
Sure. So what you're going to see here now is access up to the tableland parkland. This whole project has been designed so that because of the lobbying, because of the effort that's been done, we're getting an excellent access road up to parkland that's going to be at the top. And our park project actually falls in the middle of their project. As you heard, for instance, the paving won't occur till late next year, and that's actually to the benefit of the park construction, because we'll be able to take advantage of the new road they're putting in without the final finish on it, go in, do our park, and then, so to speak, they're going to paint us out of the room by putting in the fresh asphalt at the end of next year. The benefit of this, of course, is you heard AODA, you heard, which is the accessibility requirements and all that. So we'll be meeting all the requirements for accessibility, for instance, for everything that goes into this park, by making sure we have a safe access road going into it. Before, we were into some pretty difficult situations. How are we going to build this and make it properly accessible for all? We could put some facilities in there, but they wouldn't necessarily be accessible. So now the benefit is, because of this project, the entire area is going to be made accessible, truly accessible for everybody in your community. And then when I get into my park piece, I'll explain about the type of things that you can expect to see us putting up there.
So as Kevin was speaking, a couple other things came to mind. So that if you're familiar with the area at all, you know that there are 2 hydro tower lines, Hydro Ontario Networks own and operate. It's within an easement granted by the city, but they have significant easement rights. So we are, we've met with them a number of times. We've made a second application for approval, and that's with them now.
Is that coming along in a timely manner?
Yeah, we expect it to, Sean. Yeah. So we've met with, there's a new individual at the FOTEM who manages Hydro One's lands in Eastern Ontario, quite capable individual, and we had a meeting in February. He's up to speed on the file, and that's moving forward. The other interesting, I guess, feature that you might want to be aware of, this is the corner of Trim, right? So this is the future Frank Kenny. So this parking lot that I spoke of is actually in the future Frank Kenny right-of-way. So some of these elements are temporary, but we've established the grade and alignment of the pathway that it can meet and work with Frank Kenny in the future.
Excuse me, could you just describe where exactly the road
Frank
connecting
Kenny?
to Frank Kenny?
Yeah, essentially, Sandy, this is the 9-degree bend in Trim.
Okay, yeah.
So Frank Kenny, if you just follow my hand, that is the Frank Kenny right-of-way. Behind you,
Right.
on that.
Right.
Thank you.
$1.3 million special culvert that has to go in there.
I think, yeah, further down.
Yeah,
this area,
yeah.
So that, I think, in some of the options that, this extension on temporary, not a temporary basis, but extending Frank Kenny in the 2 lane was looked at, it was very expensive.
So it's great that the parking lot is going to be a temporary parking lot, gravel, so basically that part of the road that's being paved could be reutilized moving forward.
Yeah, so the paving through and the driving on, the actual parking surfaces will be ground. So I should maybe mention too,
Sorry.
sorry?
Maybe not you, but would any of this be impacted if for whatever reason, whenever Frank Kenny's gonna be built, would any of this change, or no, this is it set that then Frank Kenny will be alongside with?
Right, good question. No, Frank Kenny will interrupt the temporary parking lot.
Okay,
Okay, so this pathway would probably somehow, if we looked at it, would probably come up parallel Frank Kenny for a bit and then make a connection. Those details are to be sorted out in the future.
okay.
But the parking lot would be, is truly temporary. The balance of, the balance of the works are for long.
Because there's a future parking lot that'll be located further down. It's already built into the park. So in the plans, of the Frank Kenny plans, so that's why this is temporary.
Okay.
So a couple other individuals in the city here tonight, maybe I should introduce them. So Nathan Fudge is actually moving on to another department of the city. So Nathan's stepping down from this project, but agreed to come tonight. Gentleman on Nathan's left is Andy Smith. Andy is Nathan's program manager. And Jeffrey Wara. Jeff has taken over as project manager at our main point of contact.
What's your last name, Jeffrey?
Wara, it's W-A-A-R-A. So I signed on in the sheet. So just to assure you, even though that Nathan is moving on to bigger and better things, and there are really large shoes to fill, we expect to be a pretty seamless transfer of responsibilities over the next few days. So we really expect this project to keep going ahead. We recognize that it is a priority for this community, and once we get to construction, I'll be involved on a daily basis as well. So if there's any questions, if you see something, you're on site and you see something you don't like, don't hesitate to call me. We all have cell phones, Blackberries are on basically 24/7, so we will respond really quickly. So just rest assured that we're moving on. We're not abandoned.
Thank you, Jeffrey. You can guarantee if we see something going on.
And reality is I live just in this community as well, so
Yeah.
it'll be.
Could I ask a favor of yourselves?
Yeah.
If there's any problems with obtaining any permits from, or any difficulties with Ontario Hydro or any group, can you please let us know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my worry is Ontario Hydro, or Hydro One.
And we've sent that information to council
Yeah.
already, so I think he's already put a bug in the ear.
Yeah, we're just going to stay on top of it.
Okay.
Maybe one final point that I'll make, access during construction is always an issue or concern, usually a concern. We're not using the signalized intersection. We're going to continue to use the gravel access that comes off of this lake of Trip.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you. Any questions from the floor? Going once, going twice, gone. Excellent job.
So
You're up, bud.